Welcome back to What's the Verdict, a show where I give you my Verdict MMA picks for the upcoming UFC card. This weekend we have UFC 312, Dricus du Plessis versus Sean Strickland in the long-awaited rematch. The main card doesn't have many big names aside from the title fights at the top, but they definitely have some names you're going to want to know. Starting off with the first fight on the main card, we have Jake Matthews versus Francisco Prado. Francisco Prado has had some exciting fights inside the promotion so far, picking up a performance of the night bonus against Ataman Azaitar and a fight of the night bonus in his last performance against Daniel Zellhuber. Francisco Prado has had a bit of a layoff with his last performance being in February of 2024, and he is definitely fighting no slouch in Jake Matthews. Jake Matthews is a tough UFC veteran, having been in the promotion since 2014. Jake Matthews has really heavy hands and super slick boxing, with fantastic footwork as well. I think this fight is going to be wildly exciting, but I don't see it going to a decision. I think Jake Matthews is just a bit too gritty of a veteran for Francisco Prado at this point in his career. My Verdict MMA pick is Jake Matthews by TKO in the second round. Moving on to the next fight, we have Jimmy Crute versus Adolfo Bellato. Jimmy Crute is looking to bounce back after a tough UFC run lately, and Adolfo Bellato is looking to continue winning ways after his UFC debut with a win over Ihor Potieria. This fight is going to be a bit slower paced but wildly explosive, and with this one I'm just not sure who has the edge. Both men have just about the same professional experience, so I really don't know which way to lean on this one. My Verdict MMA pick is Jimmy Crute by unanimous decision. I know that's a bit far out there, but we'll see where it goes. Next up we have Talison Teixeira versus Justin Tafa. This is another fight that should be wildly explosive. It's heavyweight and we all know that anything can happen. Talison Teixeira is an absolute giant compared to Justin Tafa, and will also have a significant reach advantage. Both men are going to have to make drastic movements to land any significant strikes, and at heavyweight, we all know what that means. I'm expecting a big knockout in the first or second round, and my Verdict MMA pick is that knockout will come from Talison Teixeira in the second round. Although those three fights aren't the biggest of names, I do think they're going to be exciting. Moving on to the title fights at the top of the card, we have Tatiana Suarez versus Zhang Weili. Weili is an absolute force inside the division, and she has beaten just about everybody. Her striking is mean and accurate, and her ground game is dominant and just all control. She is undoubtedly one of the best female fighters of all time, but Tatiana Suarez on the other side of the cage is also seemingly a generational athlete. Tatiana Suarez has an absolutely brutal wrestling game and slick submission ability. She is undefeated and coming to take the belt from Zhang Weili. This fight has fireworks written all over it and is one of the most anticipated women's title fights in recent memory. Tatiana Suarez has been in waiting for her title fight for a very, very long time. With all that said, I do think Tatiana Suarez is going to make this fight look easier than most people are anticipating. My Verdict MMA pick is Tatiana Suarez by submission in the third round. It is a super interesting fight and I cannot wait to see it. Moving on to the main event of the evening, we have Dricus du Plessis defending his belt against Sean Strickland. The first fight was razor close, and I do think it's going to be the exact same way this time. But this time I do not see the fight going to a decision. I think both men are going to pour their hearts out in the cage this time. And even though it's going to be a close fight, both men are going to be a lot more aggressive. I believe it's going to be a fast-paced, brutal fight, and I think that the fight will end up everywhere it can go. On the ground, standing up, in between, clinching, all of it. But when the smoke clears, who's going to be there at the end of every round, ready to go again? I do believe that Sean Strickland is going to be able to push the pace way more than Dricus du Plessis this time, and I think his striking is going to be a lot more effective. My Verdict MMA pick for the rematch between Sean Strickland and Dricus du Plessis is Sean Strickland by TKO in the fourth round. This fight is going to be another absolute war, and I cannot wait to see it. UFC 312 is going to be a sneaky good card, and it's not going to be one that a lot of fans see coming. This has been What's the Verdict from Daily Tapouts FC. Thank you for watching.